bar rest for the wicked with their skullduggery. The use spell workers' projection to send out envy, hate, and jealousy. You are the prototype, your ancestors champion. They shield you and send back those spiritual attacks. You are divinely protected from the dummy bats. Yeah. Big cat, the most high, got your back. He sits high and looks low, so don't get smoked or smoke yourself. Big cat, moving silence. Only time you speak is to say checkmate.
Namaste! Namaste, Big Cat. Grand Rising. Welcome or welcome back to Frequency Phoenix 555 for your message or massages. Come in. Come on. I've got intel. Recon is afoot. Yes, Big Cat. Tonight is the last full moon in Cancer, darling dears. It's a harvest moon. It's a cold moon, darling dears. It offsets the colder days as well as the longer nights. Remember, I told you that. And during this time, expect a fake apology coming in 3, 2, 1. Why would they be apologizing? Well, let's unpack Cancer. Cancer is the 4th house. The 4th house is about mothering. It's about nurturing, darling dears. It's also the house of where you are able to be your most self, darling dear. So it could be family members, an ex-partner, ex-friend. Expect an apology, darling dears, but it will be in private. Even though the disrespect was loud. Loud. Yes, baby. So we're going to dive in and we're going to unpack. I've got intel. Recon is afoot. Yes, bestie. The fake apologies are coming in. Be prepared. We have a 5. And we know what the 5 means in numerology, don't we, darling dears? It means conflict and confusion, but it's got that big C being bandied around. That's changed, darling dears. They're going to realize that you are a Teflon cat. You also have what? Aries. Aries is the 1st house. So people coming in for their own selfish reasons. Remember, the dice are telling you, I've told you, right? They're coming in with conflict and confusion. They want to see if what they did hurt you, darling dears. If you're broken and crying. And look what's here. Good golly and gosh. Saturn with the rules and the regulations, darling dears. The restrictions. Saturn, the father of time, darling dear. Time. It took a time for it to what? Sink in that you weren't coming back. Blood, bra, or sistrine. Somebody's coming forward, darling dears, to put some kind of restriction or maybe a responsibility on you, darling dears. Saturn is the ruler of the letters P and F. Okay? Saturn takes, I don't know, I'm being told to tell you about it. Saturn takes 140 days to retrograde, darling dears. So something to do with the 1 and the 4. Maybe it was 4 years this has gone on. 14 years it's gone on, darling dears. It could be as long as 40. But something significant is there where the breakdown happened, darling dears. Where it really went, you went low and they went straight to hell. Where they came from. Love it. I don't hate it. Let's have another look. Let's carry on, darling dears, with the numbers, the numerology of it before we break down the Aries energy. The energy of the 5, darling dears, is ruled by Mercury. Mercury's about what? Keeping your intellect tight, darling dears. Remember, you have... Where's my shiznai? Well, I'm going to hypnotize you, so be prepared. You have the memory of an elephant. The same elephant like in India that murked the lady twice. You have a memory of an elephant. I told you many times, bestie. You must forgive. Forgive what they done did. They know not what they did, darling dear. They didn't know then, but they know it now, darling dears. You must forgive, but never forget that bastardo's name. Don't forget it. Don't forget, darling dears. Where was I? The energy of the 5 is ruled by Mercury. So your luckiest days, or maybe the day they will approach you will be on a Friday or a Sunday, darling dears. Mercury is the number 5 is represented by E, N, and W. So you've got E, N, W, as well as P and F. The numbers associated to the number 5 is 1, 5, and 7. They may be fortunate, or around this date you can expect an incoming of what? Fucking blood. But remember, you are a learned cat. Learned means you've done the what? Keyboard gangster work. You've got to your bookwork and you realize that it wasn't fabulous. It wasn't. But it's also the 5 is saying that they feel as though maybe because of the season that we're in, darling dears, that you're going to be feeling weak and vulnerable. Remember, it may not be the best of times, darling dears, but anything is better than where you came from. Again, breathe in with me. Smell the freedom, darling dears. Can you hear anything? No, it's peaceful, darling dears. And your heart, it no longer goes boom, diddy, boom. All of this is very important, darling dears. This phase will blow over, but you have to be strong. Remember, you have the memory of an elephant. Aries, the first house, darling dears, as I said, is ruled by Mars. So this person is going to be extremely aggressive with their actions. They're going to be coming in, possibly fawning and simpering, darling dears, giving you compliments about this, giving you compliments about that. But they didn't mean it. They didn't. And guess what? You'll hear the compliment. And if they send you a message, it will be in a vanishing line, darling dears. It'll vanish after 7 hours. You'll be questioning your own sanity and what you saw of your eye chakras. Trust and believe. I'll still be here to say, well, they did say that. Who's gonna stop me, boo? I told you. I'm your best friend, darling dears, but I'm not here to what? Help you with wickedness. No! I can't help you what? Nurture something that never nurtured you. Nurture something that wanted you to be brown bread, barking at passing cars, or what? Counting what? Matchsticks outside the train station as you was looking for some skrillers to buy some crimbo food, darling dears. Yes. All of the above. So they're going to be aggressive with it, darling dears. But it's because they're under restrictions and rules, darling dears. You can't F over a chosen that is put amongst you, to show you compassion, to show you what? Love, innovation, darling dear. Yes, baby, you was a natural, or should I say, are a natural born leader. But it's once you find your purpose, this is when you come into your second wind, darling dears. This is why I always task you with what? Looking at your birth natal chart, darling dears. Just because many people did bad to you does not mean you must go out there and do bad. That's the difference between a big cat and a bottom feeder, darling dears. You just know whom to give the good to, not to anybody that's done you something, darling. Let them be sorry. Was they sorry when your hairline was all pitchy-patchy, right? When they gave you a reverse fried tuck? Was they sorry when you got an STD? Was they sorry when they gossiped about you in twos and thruples and quadruples? Was they sorry? Was they sorry when they talked about your progeny? Was they sorry when they discussed your health? Was they sorry? They wasn't sorry. They wasn't. Or should I say, because of the season, twasn't. They twasn't. Sorry, twasn't. Yeah. All right. Let's carry on. Let's press on, darling dears. Let's press on. I feel like... What's going on? What happened? The music just went down for no reason, darling dears. Listen, I'm a one cat show at this moment in time, so you've got to bear with me. Just hold on and hold that thought. We take, yeah, you can accept their apology, darling dears, from 60 feet with an electricated fence. Or, as we normally prefer it, they can come and apologize, but they must come with their head on a platter. Their head must be separated from their body, and they must be carrying said platter. All right? And even then, I didn't know. It looks weird. Let's carry on. Right. Let's get your oracle ancestral message, darling dears, about this fake apology that's coming in 3, 2, 1. Remember, this is a bird that flew too fast past its nest. A lazy dog that is now eating dotty pudding. They know what o'clock a strike. These are all Jamaican sayings, darling dears. You'll get with it. Don't worry. You are what? I told you when you come over here, you're a big cat. You're a badass, right? And you're Jamaican. All right. Now that we've got the preliminary sorted out, let's see about this fake apology. Look, High Priestess on its face. Lies. Secrets within. They've got plans within plans, darling. There isn't secrets within secrets. Remember, I told you that. And again, we was just talking about the full Cancer moon, which is tonight, and I'm sure you're going to have all of your crystals out there soaking up the last energy of 2023. This is secrets and lies, darling dears. It could be feminine energy, female energy, but then again, it could be a Mitch bitch or a bitch Mitch. That you can't tell the difference, darling dears. So skullduggerous. They look like they're androgynous. They're one and the same. What else is going on with the High Priestess on its face? It also speaks about what? Negativity being sent your way, still being sent your way. Look where the eyes are when you read the cards, darling dears. Eyes facing you is current energy. Remember, I told you that. They didn't expect you to be resourceful. Maybe you are highly intuitive. You could even be a reader, darling dears. Or you use your intuitive skills to what? Forward your motion, as only a big cat can, darling dears. Moving forward, listening to your intuition. You're not around the crazy making noise. You've had a chance to what? Breathe in the freedom and listen to the peace. But this is lies, darling dears. Nurturing. If they've got progeny, they're not nurturing to their progeny, or it is for what? Selfish reasons, darling dears. I know this because the card said it. What did I say? Dedication, darling dears. You showed dedication, and they are going to appear to be dedicated and not on the same team as you. Why? They've come with what? A listening ear. To do what? Ear hustle. They just want to know if there's a crack in your armor, your formidable armor of what? God, darling dears. Ephesians 6:13. You've got the whole armor of God. Are you kidding me, blood, bra, or sistrine? Remember, bestie, when you was crying into your fist before you met me, and I told you to slap the shiznai out of yourself until blood and spittle flies. Remember when you was crying, bestie? When you couldn't even wash your own panani or futum? Do you remember those days when you barely could eat or you ate too much? Or you was drinking on by your... Listen. You dedicated yourself to a new life, darling dears. You had to go solo dolo like the boys or girls on the pole. This false person is going to come back in with dedications to you, darling dears. All of a sudden, you're fabulous, gorgeous, and lovely. All of a sudden, you're so intelligent. All of a sudden, you're the wise one. All of a sudden, you're the community bank. Imagine that. They want your skrillers, your time, and what? They want it from your energy bank, darling dears. Remember, I told you that you are a big cat. You are a chosen one. And where your focus goes, it grows. They didn't realize that you came with the what? Je ne sais quoi. Your energy is what fertilized what they had going on. Because you supported them. You did. Well, guess what? We've already put our prayer up to God, right? That next year for 2024, we don't want to be the strongest soldier. We feel that it's time for someone else to be it while we're busy getting great. We don't want to be the strongest soldier. This is why I had to hypnotize you at the start of the read. Why? You have the memory of an elephant. The cold moon is also a time for you to harvest the intentions that you set at previous moons, darling dears. How many times have you wished to be able to be in your own domicile, peaceful, right? Abundant. You're able to pay what you need to pay. You don't have to worry. Why? Because your frequency is no longer lowered. The universe provides for those that help themselves. And the biggest help you could ever have in any situation is to what? That's right, bestie, to know thyself. And I don't like it. I don't like taking it without the Vaseline. Do you, bestie? Can I get a cat? Listen. Fake apology. They're going to come back like they're dedicated to you, darling dears. There could be something that needs to be signed. Maybe they need your signature for some form of inheritance, or your okay has to be involved in a situation where maybe they want you to come around them so they can shame you in public. Listen, they're conniving, they're skullduggerous, and they're missing. No one called the police. You have the power, big cat. And heavy is the head that wears the crown. And look at the Eye of Sauron behind you. They're behind your back for a reason. Remember, there's a difference between reason, season, and lifetime. We've got one life to live on this Malkuth, darling dears. One. And when you stop crying and realize, listen, I'm what shortening my life. Oh, my love. Oh, Freudian slip meant to come out. You take back that energy and you love on yourself, darling dears. And if it's hard, you take one body part of today. I started with my clavicle bone on the left. Yes, I did. And then I moved to the right. And now I love the whole of me. And I would not treat yourself like a premature baby, darling dears. You won't let anybody breathe on that baby be around just anybody. You be on it like white on rice. You be the full-on security, darling dears. Remember, they wasn't sorry when they did it. And if they're coming back, they have a dedicated agenda. This is why you're smiling, darling dears, because you know what's going on. Don't be hoodwinked into what foolishness with fools who are always doing what? Foolish things. Don't let them hoodwink you, right? You are spiritually protected, and plus you're standing on the biggest pentacali of them all. Guess what? What did I say? Once you raise your frequency, your finances, your health, everything is unleashed, darling dears. And many of you are carrying what? Autoimmune disease from what they did to you. Why would you go back? Listen, why would you go back for more? Your name's not Oliver, right? And this ain't Great Expectations, blood. They've got great expectations to F you over, to trick you and be your friend in private, but in public, they will treat you the way they treated you before. Remember, I told you that. They wanted to be the baddest and the biggest in your life, darling dears. But the only baddest and biggest thing in your life is your what? Blinking and breathing, blood, and your heart beating. They don't control that, otherwise you'd be dead. On the rocks of life, darling dears, a mere memory, having not lived your life purpose. And we all have purpose. And our biggest purpose is not to get effed over. 5225 on the clock. That's an angel number, darling dears. Go and research that. There is a message for you. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, but he also is reminding you to use your intuition, use your discernment, darling dears. Don't be what? Hoodwinked and what? Roughhoused into circumstances and situations that are not for you. What? To be one of the crowd. The crowd of what? We already discussed this. They're bottom feeding tree sloths with algae in their fur. I told you they got a plan. Them have a plan. But remember, when people plan, God laughs. God is laughing now. Let them plan, darling dears. These people or this person was like, you was like a little kitten. If you throw a ball in front of a kitten, they run it down, darling dears, and fight it for hours. You now, are you mad? Run down whom? Let's have a quick see who's in the chat. Let's go to the top. I believe, oh gosh, it's going funny. Rupinda, Wagwan, Big Cat Wave, Donny Renee, Malibu, I see you, Audra Die, Beep Beep, Skeet from the Wicked. Who else is here? Kung Fu Panda, hiya, you's a sneaky cat. Listen, bend and stretch before you go back where you are not welcomed. Remember, we go where we are celebrated, not tolerated. Your energy, once it's lost, darling dears, don't you ever second guess or downgrade your energy, darling dears. We are all unique and different in our own ways. But your heart is not cold. Use the energy of the full cold moon to nurture yourself. Harvest the intention that you set, darling dears. Build your own family. It may not be blood, and sometimes that's for the best, darling dears. Build your own communities where you will meet like-minded souls. And it's like what? An empowerment of yourself. And you will explode with energy, abundance on all levels. Why would you want to go back to people that talk about the same shiznai? What's that? Each other. These merchants of slander. Pwah! Always on the balls of their feet. Dedicated to finding out where your power comes from, darling dears. Why you are strong. Ha ha! More fool them. We know, we ibex. As we sip our mockers. Because we ain't getting smoked. Right, let's go with the blue cards because they're going to come and tell you a story. They're going to tell you a sad story about being sorry. So we'll go with the blue cards. This one fell in my hand. What did I say? You are protected, darling dears. You saw yourself standing on the biggest pentacali of them all. Opportunities, new beginnings, doorways opening for you, darling dears. But you are standing alone. You think you're alone, but you're never alone. These are God's feet on the pentacali, darling dears, because you will always be carried. Why? Because you do good. When they did bad, you continue to do good. Until you realize, fuck that shit. Nah, blood. Skeet, skeet. Beep, beep. Hey, hey. Father God, Mother Isis. We've also got what? I'd rather be alone than unhappy. Remember I told you that? I can't make this up, darling dears. There's 120 cards in this deck. What else have we got? Somebody's coming in to talk about the progeny. I told you, full cold moon in Cancer. It could have something to do with their progeny, darling dears. What's this? You had to eliminate to elevate. What did I say? You have to remember, when people in life, darling dears, some people, the worst people, darling dears, will give you a lesson. The alright people will what? Give you some form of happiness. But the best people, the ones on your frequency, will give you memories. Nothing like a good memory to go back and have a good laugh, darling dears. This is someone that cheated with multiple people. And this does not necessarily have to be what? The genitalia watusi. This could be the lying, the scandalous scandalization on your godly name, darling dears. Yes, 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 yes. It could be cheating amongst family members. To your face, in private, by yourselves. They was your friend. But in the public of the other family members, how did they treat you? Like boo-boo the blood clot fool. Listen. That's what I said. Right? You chose you. I can't make this up, darling dears. You chose you, and you must always choose you. You are the only thing that comes with you everywhere on this Malkuth. This is why you have to love the skin that you're in, darling dears. It doesn't matter if you want to accentuate your body part. Whatever you want to do, how you love on you is your business. But always choose you after the Most High, darling dears. And your table will be forever set. So, the footstools want to come back. You know the footstools? The ones that laughed at you, darling dears. Said you was crack on crazy and that you couldn't get on without them. Right? They're nothing but knicker snickers. Knicker sniffers. I think some of these cards is like a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old telling you off. You're a knicker sniffer. Or a what? A cross-eyed ugly butt. Something like that. Yeah. Tell them off like that. They was what? Infantile to you, darling dears. They was like a pack of wolves picking on you, darling dear, with their closet was so full of skeletons. What did I say? You are HEYOKA, darling dears. This is a what? A master empath, darling dears. You feel other people's feelings. This is why you was able to stay in those dysfunctional, toxic vibes for so long. Because you was carrying their emotions, and you are a natural born healer. You can't heal anyone, darling dears, if they decide to be broke. Especially when they're trying to break you to listen. Nobody's breaking down the big cat. Not while we're best friends, blood. You had to choose you. Better to be unhappy. Was it alone rather than unhappy? And remember, law number 2 of the 48 laws of power. Don't trust these friends. And if they come, you know them as an enemy, and you feel like, what? Playing, darling. You can use them, but for what? They can't tell you nothing about finances. They can't tell you nothing about stability. They sure as she's now, you can't tell you nothing about your spirituality or religion, right? They can't bring nothing to your table except yesteryear, darling dears. And that's so 2000, right? You're right. They disgust you. And this is why they want to come back, darling dears. Because you're a badass. You are ibex. You are prototype of your lineage. You are chosen. You thought your road was hard. It was hard because you was in the wrong environment, at the wrong address, darling dears. But the only one that can remove you from said wickedness is you. Why? This is what I say to you all of the time, bestie. If you're crying about a situation all of the time, that's a funeral. It's not a friendship, a relationship, a marriage, a No! I've seen what a family looks like. I've watched Little House on the Prairie. If I could have gone into the screen, I'd been there, mate. The only one of the family members with cane rose blood. Yeah, and I ain't picking nothing blood. Nothing. As I said, we've seen a good family from Little House on the Prairie. Final card. The loss of you is their karma, darling dears. They're going to watch you go from what? Pedestal to pedestal to pedestal. Why? Because you had to take yourself out the bargain bucket. All right then. You had to take yourself out the bargain bucket, darling dears. So you slid over the side, crawled on your elbows over to the what? The counter, clawed your way up on top of the counter, jumped up onto the back, right? To the high cabinet at the back. You know the one with the security camera that's always locked. And they have to go and get Karen, right? Because she's got the key and Karen's having a fag. That's a cigarette in the UK. Somewhere out the back. You had to put yourself on that pedestal, darling dears. And they are meant to watch you win. For air. We don't accept fake apologies. It's like a £9 note. Can't spend it anywhere. Final card, then we're going to go to the tarot. Spiritual quarantine, or yeah. Closed for spiritual works. Why? Because if you take them back, darling, there's Saturn's right here with the rules and the regulations, the restrictions. Because your biggest responsibility is being the best person you can be, standing in your authority, being disciplined, darling dears. Saturn will see that you have limitations put back into your life if you accept this energy that comes with the private apology when the public disgrace was, oh my God, be still my beating heart. Use this Aries energy and put yourself first, darling dears. Put yourself first. I'm not going back to no situation that made me cry. Listen, I was too skinny at that time. Good God, I couldn't eat. Right, let's get a deck and dive right in. So they want to come and cause all kinds of F shit in your life. We're going to get the After Tarot deck. 10 of Swords. You've barely got away, darling dears. 10 of Swords is the what? The backstabbation. This is the passive aggressive. This is the lies telling that they told around you in order for them to look better, darling dears. These are what? People that are, how can I put it? How they disparaged your name in public, darling dears. How they spoke about you. This is also isolation, darling dears. The swords can be cold, but it's also a spiritual card. You're holding on to your Ace of Swords, the truth roof. You know what you brought to that situation. You know how you tried to fix it. And you know that you're no longer doing that, she's naive. Listen, you drop that shit like a hot potato. Drop it. Let's give it a good shufty. Don't forget, darling dears. They disgust you. They disgust you. Right? You're disgusted by them. And what do we normally do when we see things that we're disgusted with? Let me show you what we normally do. I don't ask no questions. I just go in full on attack, right? I ain't asking the questions. This is why you leave me in my peace and freedom. Leave me alone. Ah, dear. That Ten of Swords is also you falling back, realizing you can't fix a situation that is below your spiritual pay grade. Hence the what? Spiritual quarantine. Below your pay grade. I think not, Scotty. I think not. Had to put my back into it. This fake apology. Tell us some more about the fake apology. It's a lot of cards. Six of Pentacles shows you it's coming in. Eight of Wands behind that. This is the message, darling dears. Yeah, because they see you as emotionally stable at this moment in time. They want to come back, darling dear. Like nothing ever happened, right? Listen. You better make the right choice. Lover's card, Gemini energy. Gemini is the third house. It could be a sibling. It could be a distant relative, like a cousin, an uncle, or an aunt, darling dears. But remember the Cancer moon. They're going to try and what? Tug at your heartstrings. But the Nine of Swords in the reverse is what? The memory of an elephant blood. You remember this dragon. And they want to drag on, darling dear. They want to be a dragon in your life. They want to be a Klingon. Well, guess what? This ain't Star Trek, blood. This ain't Star Trek, blood. Nah. What else? This person is toxic. Ace of the ones is spiritual. It's about the actions that they've taken, darling dears. Move forward, change a situation, right? They've not changed not one fig, not a smidgen, darling dears. They come back with the same fucking ease. However, you have the memory of an elephant, darling dear. They're only coming in because of this. If you was like this, do you think they'd be back? If you was emotionally unstable, darling dears, do you think that they would be back? You got your flip-flops on, darling dears, of common sense. They're nothing but what? Cross-eyed ugly butts and knicker sniffers. When you think about them, you're going to be thinking, you knicker sniffer, you. Yeah. This is why I plant these little seeds into your mind. So when these people come along, you're like, oi, what's going on, spiritual team? Another game? Well, let's play. And you're going to play what? That's right, bestie. You ain't got time for that. You play with love and light. That's two of these, one of those. Communicative dance. And if they're stubborn, we go straight for nay. I showed you nay. I'll take my chances with the judge, darling dears. I will take my chances. And when I go to see the judge, you know what I'll do? I'll act just like Kaiser Soze in The Usual Suspects. Everybody thought he was crippled and couldn't walk. No, blood, he was the smartest one in the room. Killed off everyone. Because the theme of The Usual Suspects, right? It's about this gangster. And these other gangs wanted to take over his territory. So while he was out, right, doing his gangster shit, they went into his house and they abused his wife in the worst way in front of his children. And then he walked in and saw all of this. You know what Kaiser Soze did? He shot his wife first. Then he shot all of his children because he said they will never be the same again. Then he killed all of the people in the room that did all of this abusing to his family except one. He left one alive to say that I'm coming to kill everyone. And you know what he did? He killed everyone in their gang, their family members, people that owed them money. Then he killed everybody that was associated to them. But nobody ever saw him again. Kaiser Soze, your reputation precedes you, darling dears. Why? Because you're a badass. Why? Because you don't need to be around no cross-eyed, ugly butt knicker sniffer. That is dedicated with an agenda, darling dears. An agenda to keep secrets from you, darling dears. They've got plans within plans, and the plans usually for their benefit. Not for yours, darling dears. And remember, this apology will be in private. The ones, Eight of Wands is a message. It could be by snail mail, text message. Listen, anything but smoke signal, because who's checking for that? Yeah. Badass alchemist ways, darling dears. Manifesting, it also speaks about travel. Somebody's going to be traveling in the next few days. It's a short journey. Yeah. To release some kind of burden. But it's also about a job, darling dear. Somebody's releasing themselves from a job over the next few days. Yeah, you've already mentally left the building as far as that is concerned. Yeah, because you felt stagnant and stuck in a place. This ending between this snake that's coming from the crevice of the devil's balls, darling dears, is to cause confusion. They want you to be destabilized and unbalanced. They want you to be waiting for them to come back in again. But as we've already seen, you had to muster up the strength, manifest the strength to leave that situation. A people or a person whom you thunk was going to be in your life. But if they'd have stayed, you wouldn't be alive now. You'd either, like I said, you'd either be brown bread, barking at passing cars, right? Yes, baby. Or outside the train station selling matchsticks. Yeah. Nah. You had to cut that energy off. You had to. You had to do what's his name said, Maxwell. You had to go so far to see what love would be like if you're not here with me. You had to understand the love has to come for self always first and foremost. And you will not love yourself if you go back into this situation. Why? You've already eliminated. You've elevated. And what they're on, you're not on, blood. They're on demon time. You are a soldier for the light. And as I said, we've already put in our applications not to be the strongest soldier in 2024. Clarify the magician, please. You're in manifestation mode at this moment in time. Yeah, don't choose that option. And even God has come out to show you. This is the God card in tarot, darling dears. The Hierophant, the second house, is about your values. This is about your worth, darling dears. They see your work ethic. They see that you're learning. Maybe you've acquired some kind of stability, darling dears. It could be a higher position. You may be in a position where you're a teacher, or you was a student for a period, or they only knew you when you was a student. They didn't know that you was about to be the master, the baddest of them all. But God has come in right behind the choice that you made. That choice has put you in manifestation mode, darling dears. Many of you may still be walking alone at this moment in time. Why? You had to get past the full cold moon in Cancer, darling dears. Divine wants to know if you are going to what? Give up your own self-care, your own self-worth to be amongst people that meant you no good. You already released the burden. Tell us some more about this burden of the fake apology. Yeah. You are their karma, darling dears. Justice card. Justice is Libra energy, the 7th house. The 7th house is the house of contractual partnerships, whether friendships, a marriage, in work. But it's also the house of what? Open enemies. This person is still your enemy. They're still your enemy. They'll always be your enemy. And God forbid they come and see what you really got going on at your what? Don't get smoke central. Because every big cat has a don't get smoke central. God forbid they see that. What they gonna do? You are their karma. Right? They come to you with lies when you know the truth, darling dears. The truth roof. Pinkies up. Ace of Swords is also spiritual. Listen to your discernment, darling dears. This is the hand of God. And God says what? An eye for an eye. It's not your battle to fight. They are meant to watch you, these open enemies, these ones with the fake apologies in private. How dare they? You should be offended. I want to come and apologize to you in private. I can't. What's the French word for private? I don't know. I'm trying to make it up in my mind. I don't know it. If you know it, put it in the comments. Because I'm telling you, they want to come in private to apologize, but you know what's going on. This goes to 7 of Swords, darling dears. We didn't get a chance to sip my mocha. Deception indicated. This person is coming to trip you up on your what? Spiritual journey. Take you off your aspirations, your goals, your dreams. Remember, this is the full moon in Cancer, the last one of 2023, before we plunge into what? Pluto in Aquarius. Go and watch that read, because it's got the energy for your sun, moon and rising sign for the next 19 years. What you have to adopt. Go and watch it. You can't allow these tricksters, right, to what, have a foothold, a toehold in your life. Tell us something else, because the apology is dead in the water, darling. Is if they're coming to offer you old Panani or old Fatum that's been around the world, and come through, Lisa Stansfield, posh, clap. You don't want what they got. You don't want that junk in the trunk. Why? Because it's just junk. You don't want it, right? King of Swords, big time spying. They're watching you like a hawk, darling dears, to bring what destabilization into your life. This person doesn't know, or people don't know how to manage their time or their money, darling dears. It also speaks about spiritual protection. Are you kidding me? Are you really gonna go on amongst those who are on demon time just because they said sorry? Fuck that. Listen, you wanted me to rip off my lace front and attack the screen. What do you mean? Just because they said they were sorry? You must go on this heinous trip with them into wickedness. Why? Why do they want to apologize to the big cat now? Why? That is a wonderful word. Why? Why? Hold on, let me get a runestone first. It said go to the runestone. All right. Go to the runestones. Well, I went to the runestones. Am I taking long to find out what the runestone is? I'm just creating a little, a bit of tension in the atmosphere. All right, I'm gonna look. Stop trying to push me around. I'm looking. This is your Raza, darling dears. This is represented by the God card in tarot. God is telling you, be on your P's and Q's. It's no longer your portion. The sufferation is over. You've been freed. God has parted the Red Sea. And then for some, you've moved from East London to Southeast London. Wherever you was did to be what? Taken up out of that situation by a mission impossible by your ancestral team, whom you didn't even know you had until you did the walk alone. Value yourself. Value what you've built, darling dears. They will come in and they will try and... Some of you may not be financially where you want to be. Guess where they're going to jump on, darling dears? To break your confidence. Because people that do you wrong always get a front row seat. We saw that. You are the justice card, darling dears. They get a front row seat to see you be the best version of yourself. Because you, as a what? Chosen one, you made yourself small in order to make them feel great. You wanted them to feel like that they had a friend always. You defended people behind their back that didn't even cross their mind when it came to you, darling dears. And now they want to come and tell you sorry in private. Listen, you don't want no. You're not going to prison. You're not. You're not. And if you tell anyone that I threatened you, I'll say it wasn't me. I'll do a shaggy. It wasn't me. Let's see where the big cat is. Right. Here you are, darling dears. Let's drop down and get our eagles on. Look at this. I can't make this up. Right here. Next to the justice, darling dears. You are their karma. Look at this. We've got the Empress energy on its face. Fake apology. This is somebody who's jealous and a gossip, darling dears. A heinous gossip. This is a hyacinth bucket or Horatio bucket. This is not a nurturing mother, darling dears. It's always self-serving. Look at this. You have the cup of love, the ace of cups, turned over, darling dears, and crushed under your flip-flop. There was never any love or true emotion, true celebration. This is also family energy, darling dears, the cups. There was no maternal instincts around you, darling dears. They didn't think to protect you in any situation, right? We've got the Hermit card next to the biggest Pentacale. So somebody's going to be coming back to ask you for a loan. Pentacales also represents your energy. It's your lendables. They're coming back because they know you to be loyal, dependable, darling dears, reliable. They want your practical advice. There's something that a burglar doesn't break into an empty house. Well, guess what? When they come back, the Tower, right next to the Magician, with your third eye buffed up to a bitchin' shine, darling dears. Let's see where Foolio is. Look, the Fool is right next to the High Priestess, darling dears. And we've got the eyes. They've been watching you, darling dear. They're watching you create bad assery. 144 likes, darling dears. The chosen have assembled. I can't make this up. Fist bump. They know all of this. This person is a dummy bat right next to the hangman. You're also going to be hearing of either a death or somebody wanting to unalive them. Some may even come in with the story that I'm going to unalive myself if you don't do this, that, and listen, bestie, oi, let me blow their horn. If somebody comes in telling you they're going to take themselves out and you're the only person that can save them, you don't go to their house. You don't waste your petrol. You don't get into your chariot of righteousness. You, as a human, as a spiritual being having a human experience, have the duty to call 911, 119, or 999, whatever. Call the emergency services and tell them that this person is threatened. What? To take themselves out, and you want them to go on a wellness check, and you know that they usually have weapons in their house. Listen, the emergency services will be there before you hang up the phone. Weapons? Weapons? Well, they weaponize themselves. They said they're going to take themselves out, innit? That's none of your business, innit? Tell the services that they are in it to win it. Yeah. They'll get a visitation, darling dears. And possibly even a big forensic taken to one of those madhouses where they need to be. Right? Your work. Look where the sewing machine is. It's not even on the screen for you. Your work, you must keep silent, darling dears. It's none of their business. Right? Some of you you're right here next to the devil. We've got the lovers, the Gemini energy, darling dears. You are coming over getting an obsessive situation. You was obsessed by your partner, darling dears. You was in a situation where you was obsessed. But we've got the what? Ace of Swords. You now see the truth. We've got you next to the Hierophant. This is a divorce in a situation and you found a new direction. Right? This arsehole, look here, the monkey right next to your star, because they watched you to step into some kind of spotlight. You don't have to be on the stage, darling dears. Standing up for yourself, looking after yourself, taking your CMOS, doing your exercising, keep the body moving. This human body, this temple is not meant to be sedentary. This is why I use my core ball. Keep yourself, they've watched you rebuild yourself, darling, this monkey's ass, right? They don't know where your strength came from, Leo energy over here, and the Wheel of Fortune here. They're trying to say that you're lucky, and it's just a lucky thing. Listen, Big Cat, come on, sit still and think to yourself. Every time you've achieved something that you truly deserve or was a gift from the Most High, people say, oh, you're lucky. It's not luck, darling dears. The more you realize yourself, the more the abundance of the universe opens up for you, darling dears. And the universe is abundant in many ways. Right. Let's push this to one side. We've got no time to pick these up. These cards just fell off, so it must be a message for you. Listen. This is Swords energy, darling. This goes to Seven of Swords in the reverse. No enemy people are allowed back in. They said there was people, but we're not going to scratch and sniff. No, we want to live. Yeah. You've already run away like Kinta Kunte. Why would you want to go back? You are free, darling dears. Free to speak your truth. The Swords is speaking your truth. It's about being the communication of it all. This is about you using your intellect, remembering that you have the memory of an elephant, not to carry that poison that they gave you. It's a memory card, darling dears, so that you will avoid that same energy again. They want to make amends with you, right? But this is not, look, these friends have best friends. They've got people waiting back in the wings for them to inform of. When you was going for your deepest tears, this is you, right? They was having a good time because they got the Three of Swords. They broke your heart. They betrayed you. They spoke about you. Some of them even put their hands on you. Maybe even pulled a stabber on you. They put their mouth on you. On your progeny. Listen, I'm sweating now, and you know I don't like to sweat. Why would you want to go back into that? Bestie, listen, I don't like falling out with you, but we might have to fall out over that, darling dears. We might just. And I won't be back for you because I told you, if you jump off the big cat flight that's going up, right? We're going up, right? We are not aiming for the clouds. We are not aiming for the moon. We want the stars, blood. I can't keep doubling back. So best you keep your Nikes forever laced, darling dears. Remember what happened, but not for the pain. You have to look at it dispassionately, darling dears. This is not avoiding. You've already done the ruminating thoughts. Going round in circles. If I'd have done this, listen, even if you'd have done, give them the best sex, gave them all your money, gave them a kidney, they still would have done you bad. You've already washed your face like David. You cried your last tear in that situation. Now they want to come in with this private. What is it, private? I want the French word for private. What is it, privet? Privy? I don't know. I'm making it up, but I would like to know. If you know it, please put it in the comments. I will add it to my lexicon. Why, bestie? Why? The runestone told you no. You saw the Hierophant card come out, right? And then you got the 5 on the dice, darling dears. 555 is what? A quantum leap ahead. You have doorways about to open for you in 2024. This is why you have to read the Pluto in Aquarius, so you will be armed and dangerous with the tools that are going to take you through for the next 19 years. This is not the season where the big cat goes and turns into a chicken head. It never happened. I had to look over my right shoulder like the DNS was what? Sneaking up on me again. These people want to be a cheap lace thong in your life, darling dears, and get a hold of your psychological password. And the sewing machine, your work, is meant to be nowhere near on their what? Menu of knowing about you, darling dears. They see you as a menu, a cheap menu from a cheap, dingy calf. That's how they see you. Why would you go back to a place where you feel lonely amongst people? You're thinking clearly now about this situation that you was unbalanced. Your money wasn't right, darling dears. You was going from one scandalous thing to another, all because of the energies you was around. But you had to break it as a chosen one. You had to put it down and push yourself away from that table. You had to. Oh, this came out as well. Look! Emperor is the God card in tarot as well. You had to come to that conclusion on your own, darling dears. But you was never alone, and you will never be alone. You have your ancestral team. You got me. We're linking up. We're creating a haven for all big cats, but not for dummy bats. This is not the time for you to slip off to have a little walk down memory lane. Listen, that's walking in the dark, right? With people that can't trust their own shadows after dark, darling dears. Get it together. You're the baddest of them all. Stand in your authority. And wherever you step or drive, you are chosen. David Class, Big Cat, Wave, Oracle 7100. Hi. Like I said, they only want to come back and find out your business, darling dears. And in some cases, I told you, you're going to hear about, they want to tell you about their progeny. A sad story there. Yes. They want to know if you've got health issues. This is all to get gossip, darling dears. This is not people that come to celebrate and uplift you. And Big Cat goes only where they're celebrated. And even if that celebration means it's a celebration of one, let it be celebrated. You're alive. And every day you're alive. The only thing you've got to be is better than the person you was yesterday. Forgive them, darling dear, because they will be forever stupid and licking the crevice of the devil's balls. These little fingers. We were still trying to ask why. Because you ended the situation. They didn't expect you to leave. You saw the card jump right out. And they're watching you, darling. There's these mouth breathers with their children of the corn eye. They're watching you. Don't be fooled. Don't get it twisted. They are watching you. You have an online presence. Even if your account is private, they're watching to see if you changed your picture. They're watching you, darling dears. And they're playing double dutch in their what cesspit of a mind to come in with this fake apology. You ended the situation, and look where you are now. Happy-go-lucky, darling dears. The brick wall is the past behind you like a ponytail, darling dears. You are a sunflower. Better yet, you're a lotus. You was able to grow in the dirtiest of waters and realize your happiness was not tied to someone who did not mean you well. What did I just say about didn't mean you well? They were disloyal, darling dears. Emotionally torturation of the cranium. Come through, Uncle Roger. Posh clap. Hiya! Yeah! Disloyal. There was never any cup of love for you. You was only what? A topic of discussion. And this also shows people that are friends to you in quiet, darling dears. Never in public. In public, they're part of what? The horde. I can't make this up. This is why I show you my cards. You've already gone through the hardest part, bestie. You're going to make me cry. You've gone through the hardest part. You had to walk away from trauma and drama. You had to become a keyboard gangster and realize that you are not the only person that's been through this. Why? Because they're everywhere, blood. They're legion. These narcs, these sociopaths, these psychopaths, they're everywhere. But you have wisdom as your guide, darling dears. You have the coveration of Father God, Mother Isis. Take your blessing and keep it pushing. 2024 is your year. Use the energy of this full cold moon to harvest all of your intentions. You write it down on paper, and tonight when the moon comes up wherever you are, you burn it. You put it into the atmosphere, into the spirit world. Let your ancestors read what's on your heart. Be loyal to you, bestie. Be loyal to what you went through, bestie. Because yes, I told you, we have been the strongest soldier, but we've already put in our application. We ain't being strong for 24 for nobody, blood. We just want to be in praising of the Lord, right? And being in our abundance, right? That's all we want. Yeah, and food and lace fronts. Lots of lace fronts. But I digress. I'm looking at my own lesson and list. Freudian slip came out again, darling dears. Anything they have to say to you will be the whisperings of Hannibal Lecter. Or they may even say things that will drive you to fury. I already did that, really. You don't want to hear things that's going to drive you to fury. Why? They're going to come back, Queen of Pentacles on its face, tell you what another dummy bat said about you. How comes they were so comfortable saying it to them? What did they say? You ain't got time to find out none of that. Best you do what? Skeet. Easter Island, Stevie Wonder. Easter Island, Stevie Wonder. Pay no attention. A vampire, energy vampire can't come in without your consent. You don't allow someone who gave you a reverse friar tuck, right? Had your hairline pitchy-patchy, had you either too fat or too skinny with them, their what? Shenanigans. To come through with a fake apology. They can go and kiss out the darkest part. Not of me, darling, they're of someone else, because I told you they can't come back. Can't go to prison. I'm too busy soaking it to them. As are you, bestie. As are you. Look, the Hierophant went in the reverse. This is not a situation you want to go back to, and it's not just one person. It's many people that want to apologize because you stood up, darling dear, in the way that they never expected you to. Be proud of yourself, big cat. Do you know how many people couldn't do it? And many of you have done it with progeny. And your progeny watching you, so you had to move. Listen, you had to move well, because you remember your progenies are your what? Recorders. They don't do what you said, they do what you do. And you didn't want to move like Richard anymore in front of them, just flopping all over. Nah, blood. 111 on the counter. Manifestation mode, as we've already uncovered. Elementary, my dear big cat. Don't go back. There'll be many that will draw you in, darling dears. But for what? They're not on the same intellectual pay grade, spiritual pay grade, right? We already saw the spiritual quarantine. You were separated for a reason. You have a purpose and you have something to complete. Even if that purpose is only to give a kindness to someone one day that you didn't even think of it as a kindness, but that saves somebody's life. You have a purpose, darling dears. Don't let no one take you off your gangster, and don't you ever let anyone take you back to that emotional state that made you feel like you was less than anything. How dare they? Come back. They're lucky I haven't got any best friends that own Scud missiles, because I'm telling you, blood. Not that I don't put out violence. I'm not putting out no violence. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. Yeah. Many people, maybe as much as 9, you're going to be getting it. They're coming in, darling dears. But this is also for you to not break bread with them. They're coming in because there's something that they want to gain from you, darling. There's some form of opportunity. Look, Jezebel's spirit, Ikubai or Succubi is their name, son or daughter of Pennywise the Clown. Yeah. The negative talk, the gossiping, the spying, the lying. And this person is not even going to be able to look in your eye properly. I told you, if you should have the misfortune of having to buck them up on the street and they've got the balls of an elephant to come and speak to you, darling dears, don't say anything. Just use psychology. Look at them in the middle of their forehead. Just look in the middle of their forehead. They'll go away. They'll become uncomfortable. They'll change their body language so they're not in alignment with you. Then they'll piss off, right? Back to wherever they came from. The crevice of the devil's balls. When you want to bond with somebody, darling, you look in their left eye. Listen, your body will train for that. But don't do that with just anyone. Make sure you keyboard gangster, yeah? Speak to your ancestors. Why is that? Why is it a psychological fact? When you want to bond with somebody, you look in your left eye, because when a mother holds the baby, she generally holds the baby in her left arm, and that is the eye that the baby sees, your left eye and their left eye, and that's how they bond. Right, but be careful who you bond with, blood, because you could be with what? The biggest, listen, you may have opened the gates of hell, darling dears, to come and outshine you. Law number 1 of the 48 laws of power. But it would be a mistake. You think they're coming? No, this is a gossiping gossiper. This is 10 of Wands situation that you've already let go. You had to eliminate that situation to boss up on them. Remember, they discussed you. They discussed you. They discussed you and they discuss you. Them still a talk about you. You know this. Let them talk. Matter of fact, let them add what they want to. But what they can't do is add you to their speed dial. No. Hey, nope. These people that gave you pisanthropia, where you trust no one. Misophonia, where you can't bear to see them eating or blinking. And they gave you, was it drapetomania, the urge, the irresistible urge to run away like Tinky Winky. Again, as we started the read, you had to fall back. You had to overcome that betrayal, but you was never alone. You're only seeking what's seeking you, and they better be on your spiritual level, darling dears, because you will what? Use your intuition and your discernment. You have your memory of an elephant. You've got your lexicon to use your words. You was in the DNS for a reason, because you was so betrayed. And you cried. You cried to God. And what did God do? God gave you exactly what you asked for, to be released from that situation. Some of you are still breathing heavy. Everybody was taken out. It was like a mass stampede, but it is what it is. In order to get these new blessings, darling dears, you had to be isolated from that situation, because they would continue to manipulate you, right? Continue to keep you on this hamster wheel, sharing in their karma with their passive aggressive ways, the gossiping, the backstabbation. This is also a legal situation that you didn't take through. It could be a domestic violence situation, darling dears, that you didn't go through because the person was able to manipulate you. If they did something to you violently before, darling dears, you allow them back in, they'll do it again. They'll do it again. And maybe this time you won't recover. Let no one have that amount of dominion over you. No one, not even your own child. No one. Don't do it, big cat. Let them keep them with their disrespect, because what they did to you in public, it was meant to break you. And they've cursed their own generational lineage, darling dears, with what they did to you, because you came with compassion. Look at yourself in every one of those situations. You could have said many things to them in situations, but you didn't, because you had the feeling, I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or I want to support them. You did all of that. And what did they do? And what do they want to come do now? Come and tell you their story in private. Listen, you don't want to be with them in private. I told you, we're not going to prison. You know what's going on, darling dears. They want to come and offload all of their spiritual hexations on you, darling dear. Remember I told you that? And didn't. We're now getting old English. Didn't you let them in your domicile for them to leave little things around? People can leave objects in your house, darling dears, that will bring all sorts of wickedness into your house. This is why I have the peacock feather over every doorway for your comings and goings. And I've got my red brick dirt, so some people can't even cross the threshold. They have to talk to me from outside the gate. Whilst they're on camera, they don't even get to see my face blood. They don't know who lives here. And this is not paranoia, darling. This is self-protection. They're coming in because of what you've got, because of what's in you. You overcame so much. They are astounded. They are shocked. And they are missing. Ooh, I miss you. Let them fucking miss you, blood. Let them miss you. And just because someone misses you doesn't mean you got to go and bring them back into your inner circle. Oh, hell no. Let's get one for more final deck and then we're out of here to get great. Look what's showing up on this. This cow. Listen. They see you as the fatted calf, darling dears. Let's get one more deck and then we're out to get great. Going with the intuitive deck. Yep, we already heard about the progeny. They're going to tell you one of their progeny sick or illness. They're coming to put stress. Your hairline, good God. Your pH balance, good God. Your common sense, your flip. Listen, they're coming to what? Get your blessings. This is trinkets. Blessings, darling dears. Because they see that you ain't tired. You got the strength to go on. They are energy vampires, as I said, right? They may even try to guilt and shame you out. And guess what they're going to do again? Tab you again, darling dears. But this time you will not recover. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I've given you the heads up, darling dears. But we all have free will. I'm a pointer, not a picker. You can choose what you want. You can choose this back front neck tabbing Judas. Or you can choose your what? Final card. The new life you've created. Again, breathing with me. Smell that free air, right? Just let it go through your body, darling dears, and listen to the peace that you've gotten. The peace that you can sit down and become a keyboard gangster and be the cat you was meant to be. Get your birth natal chart. Go and watch the Pluto in Aquarius read that I put up for your sun, moon, and rising sign. Arm yourself. Knowledge is power. And power is knowledge. And I'll have nothing else said. 120 in the chat. On that note, I drops me mic. Toddle over to my Teesprings, my Patreon, or my TikToks, where I also upload videos. Thank you very much, bestie, for your donations, your bookings, your emails, your little messages. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're going to make me cry. I've never had so many wishes for myself and my progeny for this season that I don't celebrate anymore because I know what it means. But I appreciate each and every one of you. You'll never understand. Because otherwise I'd have all of this intel in my own cranium, right? And my kids needed someone else to take some of the pressure off of them. Otherwise I'd be on them. So, and as I always say, don't get smoked. And don't smoke yourself. From the ashes, baby. Namaste. Big cat wave. Until we meet again on these tarot streets. Cat cat.